Welcome to Plant-Based on Fire, the podcast that ignites your passion for plant-based businesses. Real Men Eat Plants is proud to host this show, where we shine a spotlight on the latest and greatest plant-based companies making waves in the industry. From startups to established brands, we'll explore what sets these businesses apart, what challenges they've faced, and what their vision for a more sustainable and ethical food future looks like. So if you're hungry for some fresh insights, inspiring stories, and a healthy dose of entrepreneurial spirit, then join us on Plant-Based on Fire, brought to you by Real Men Eat Plants.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Plant-Based on Fire, where we talk about plant-based businesses and their inspiring stories to thrive in the industry. I'm your host, Bryan, and joining us today is Nijil Jamal Jones, the founder of Pecan Milk Cooperative. Welcome to the show, Nijil.
Thanks so much, Bryan.
I really appreciate having you here today. And my first question is really tell us about the journey that you've been on to come to this point in your career to create the Pecan Milk Cooperative. How did you find yourself on this path?
Thanks, Bryan. So the Pecan Milk Co-op is 10 years old this year. Thanks so much. So in the fall of 2013, I had a roommate that had a Vitamix, and I have been vegetarian, but I was transitioning into vegan, and so I was trying out some different recipes. And one of the ones that I tried was, of course, we made almond milk. So I went to our farmers market and got some almonds and blanched those, and then used my roommate's Vitamix to make my own milk at home. And me and my roommate were obsessed because it was so thick and it was creamy and it was like rich and so different than some other milk that we might be used to.
Yes.
And so I was 20 years old and I was working as a barista, but I knew that I would pay more at the grocery store for higher quality almond milk than I would be happy to pay more for it. I prefer to drink that milk because it's got more nutrients and it tastes better. So that's just a better alternative. That's really where it started. And then the following year, I started to experiment with pecan milk. And with the pecan milk, we're in Georgia, so I could buy
pecan capital of the world, right?
the most pecans anywhere in the universe here in Georgia. And so, it was local, so I would buy pecans from here in Georgia to make pecan milk. I bought pecanmilk.com, I think the year after that, and we registered the business as Pecan Milk Co-op, LLC.
That is awesome. I applaud you on your journey. I don't think anyone on the planet should be drinking milk from another animal beyond that infancy phase, for sure. So I applaud your efforts on that front. How does Pecan Milk Cooperative sort of prioritize that quality and real ingredients over the additives that you see in so many other plant milk products?
So I think all the ingredients we use are just really high quality. And I think even our packaging, we are able to go with a glass packaging. Most of the milk we see out there is pasteurized at a really high temperature really quickly. So it doesn't even need to be refrigerated. And so so it's in kind of, the typical cartons. We're pasteurizing at a lower temperature getting a shorter shelf life, and we're keeping it in glass jars. That's part of that.
The age-old battle is, the milk only has milk in it and nothing else. Well, that we know there's some hair hormones and other things hiding in the cow milk and those kinds of things.
Mhm.
In the plant-based milk, we get picked on because it's a lot of oils and other preservatives and stuff. I think yours is a much more holistic approach to a lot of that stuff, right? You don't put a lot of other additives in yours and stuff.
That's right, and it's a higher quantity of real nuts in there.
Yeah.
So here in the U.S., a lot of our milk's not labeled as the percentage of plants in the plant-based milk. But in
Mm-hmm.
other countries, you'll see that some of the same brands that sell in other countries do label that their milk has 2 to 2.5% nuts. With a
Yeah.
lot of water and different additives like lecithin, guar gum, carrageenan. The list goes on of stuff
Yeah.
to make it seem like it's full of real food and it's thick. Um, so we use less of those different additives. We pasteurize at a lower temperature. So you're gonna use more real nuts. So you're gonna get a fuller taste with more
Mm-hmm.
nutrients.
I love it. I have played with my Vitamix as well
Oh
quite a
yeah,
few times, and it is amazing. You can make it at home. If you're not, you don't have the Vitamix or whatever, like definitely try these kinds of milks. It is game changer for cereals or whatever else you're putting it in.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant-based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t-shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I want tofu tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, Real Women Eat Plants gear, Real Kids Eat Plants, and Real People Eat Plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
You started out so young, so I'm curious, like as a younger entrepreneur exploring and getting into this space, what were some of the challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
and how did I overcome them? And so I guess I went to college for 2 years in 2018, and I actually dropped out in 2020. And I did go back to school. I'm in Clayton State now. I'm hoping to graduate that year with an accounting degree, which is
Mm-hmm.
not what I would have expected when I dropped out. I was studying women's studies, um, in the social change concentration of the
Mm-hmm.
sexuality department. Um,
Yeah.
and so I was a college dropout, and I thought it was gonna be. I didn't know it was gonna be so hard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is a good product. And I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do my best to go sell it. You
Yeah.
know, and so I learned throughout the process a lot of the different things that I learned. We learned kind of by making mistakes, and so that's where most of what we learned. I also do have experience with some social justice organizing, including like with Black Lives Matter Atlanta and other
Yeah.
groups like that. And a lot of skills that I have with building relationships with folks and targeting what we need, I learned in the streets. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that some of those things you don't even learn in business school. One of those lessons I think is net 30 terms. And we
Yeah.
learned that the hard way that we got our milk on on a big in a big local health food store, and we were making sales, and we're selling pecans. We're paying our team members running the kitchen, and it's in glass jars. But we
Mm-hmm.
didn't get paid for what we sold for 30 days until after we made the sale, and we didn't know we didn't know that existed. You know,
Yeah. 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 It's eye-opening for sure. Be careful of those terms out there. And you touched on it, like there's so many different ways. I see a lot of the plant-based organizations like figuring out ways they can give back to the environment, and with social justice. I think that's a great avenue to explore for businesses to tap into some unique markets. And that's definitely sounds like it's shaped your approach to business and inclusivity, right?
That's right. Our mission has been to create dignified work for marginalized people here in the South. And so we
That's
learned over
awesome.
time that, thanks, Brian. We learned over time that also means democratic workplaces.
Yes.
And so, I'm the elected CFO of our team member. Our CEO is elected by our team members. And most of the day-to-day decisions, management decisions, different things are made by our team members.
And that's really like, it's called the Pecan Milk Cooperative, to have its workers and owners. And how does that impact your company's culture? I mean, you already said it. I mean, it impacts the decisions on who gets to vote to make you CFO, right? So what other ways have you seen that help grow the company?
Our decisions sort of have to be intuitive for our team members.
Yeah.
We've had, white folks on our team, straight folks on our team, men, women on our team, non-binary folks. But
Hmm.
we're Black owned and we're LGBT owned. We started off as being owned by people in our 20s. And over time, I guess we're now, um, and so I think we're still youth owned, but, one of our team members owns a house now, things are
Yeah,
different.
that's right.
Um,
So I love all that stuff that you're doing. I wish more businesses would embark on that democratic type process to grow their business, because I do think as a collective we make smarter decisions. So that's awesome to see you having that business structure and driving that forward. Talk to me about that sustainability side of it. Like, you obviously have the packaging in glass. How does that work? Does it drive up the price a whole bunch, or do you get a lot of recycling bottles since you're more of a local thing? Or
Right. Our pecan milk, even though there's not a lot of laws for dairy milk yet, it is still a high risk refrigerated food. And so they're not
Hmm.
letting us return the bottles, the Department of Ag and the FDA. Um,
Yeah.
but that's one of the ways that we try to stay sustainable. I think with all the packaging that we make, we try to make it either reusable or recyclable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think here in Charlotte, where I am, boomerang water is big. So everybody's carrying around their tin cans and trying to recycle those water cans. So I certainly hope that the government gets involved to make us recycling these bottles a key
Yeah,
initiative. So
I wish that plastic was banned because, like
agreed.
like you said, plastic is a little bit cheaper. There's different qualities of plastic, and like there's
Hmm.
number one PET plastic that's recyclable everywhere, and that
Yeah.
that is sort of the price is sort of comparable with high quality plastic and glass in bulk is
Hmm.
but the price is lower, and it's hard for entrepreneurs for businesses to make those decisions. I mean, because the trade-off is that now customers are paying a little bit more, and everybody
Yeah.
takes a markup. So when you increase your supplies cost, that really exponentially adds on to the customer because the middleman is going to make a markup on it as well.
Yep.
And so it's really a tough call with plastic being cheaper.
Yep. I certainly hope the market changes that quickly here. So what are some of the trends that you see in the plant-based milk industry?
I think we've heard that grab and go foods, that people are on the go and they want quick foods. This I think that we're seeing. We had an issue where the FDA was wondering if they would let us use the word milk, and when
Hmm.
dairy companies were fighting us, they were saying we're going to confuse the customers. The FDA's released guidance that the customers aren't confused about imitation milk.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, so that's been great. I think that we're seeing these companies that have these major IPOs and like groups so much like Beyond, or like
Hmm.
some of the big food
Hmm.
manufacturers. We're seeing that some of the growth is slowing down. But
Yeah.
I think that from what I'm seeing on the ground is that people just want real ingredients.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
less processing.
I agree. I'm a big proponent of the whole food plant-based movement, but I do think there's a place for these alternative proteins to push into the market and get you to tip into the vegan realm to a degree, and then hopefully they go from there more into the whole food side of it. But yeah, I can't say enough, having tried a ton of different kind of plant-based milks, that the fewer type things that you can get in them, the honestly the better it tastes. I know it lowers the shelf life which stinks for certain industries, but it does taste better. So like that's really the challenge. Like what else do you see in the challenge of producing plant-based milk versus like traditional dairy? Are there some other things to take into consideration there? You see the EV market is struggling to get the charging stations everywhere, whereas gas stations are everywhere. I feel like the same is true for milk to a degree, isn't it? They're used to bringing the cow's milk in, no problem.
So I think it's two sides. That on the um, dairy side, we're seeing, I know there's the leading nut milk brand that's making high quality nut milk. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they have oat milk and, different types of milk through an innovative process and with just
Mm-hmm.
a few ingredients. So that's a lot like our value proposition is that you're
Yeah.
getting more nutrients and a fuller taste. Um,
Yeah.
Now they are using ultra high temperature pasteurization, so you don't need to refrigerate the milk. So that's awesome. Um, but I think that that organization started off as a dairy farm.
Mm-hmm.
So the industry, I mean, folks are moving into more and more different plant based milks. Some folks are saying that we're still early, and it's funny because we're 10 years old, and when we
Yeah.
started, no one was really doing pecan milk, and now there's more players. Um, and there's no one's doing high quality plant based milk either. And now
Yeah.
there's more folks. Folks are saying we're still early, but we're seeing that there's a lot of shift in the different plant based. But then dairy milk is dying. And then on our side, there are costs. Some of the things I didn't know when I was 20 was that the food system, some parts of it might be unfair. You know that,
Yes. Yes.
that it's
Goes
not.
back to that government regulation to a degree sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different red tape. So when we first started, we had to get a shared commercial kitchen, which we were able to find one that ran us like 800 a month, which was tough. So that was
Mm-hmm.
a big hurdle. But as we get more and more into it, we're seeing that we're needing equipment to process a lot of the different foods, and the equipment has to be in facilities in
Mm-hmm.
commercial facilities as well. And so
Yeah.
they end up being a huge cost. And if you want to work with a co-packer to help you manufacture your foods with their big equipment, they're going to want a promise of a lot of different units for sale. So it's
Yeah.
really, the food industry is really set up for the people that are already succeeding in the food industry that can survive the net 30 terms at major chain stores, and
Mm-hmm.
that cannot invest in this major equipment, and smaller folks, while we're able to go through the process of getting our own kitchen and try our best. If you, it's the really name of the game is being able to access some equipment that you need.
Yeah, I see that all the time in some of the plant-based businesses that I mentor, is just getting the kitchen space and meeting the hurdles of nutritional labeling and all that kind of stuff. So the system definitely feels slanted in a certain direction. So I'm so glad that you've threaded that needle and you're well established at this point. Tell us the future vision of the Pecan Milk Cooperative. How do you hope to continue growing and expanding?
How do we keep growing and expanding? That's funny. Just because we have so many tricks up our sleeve, and I don't know
Yeah.
how many of them I can share. Um, but right now we're working with UGA. We've been working for a few years on trying our best to find well, we love the pecan milk and it's been a raw live food. So we didn't want to
Hmm.
go with traditional heat pasteurization, that makes it like dead food, you know, where we love the milks. We wanted to get to our customers with as much of the proteins and enzymes intact as possible. So we tried a variety of ways. You know, we tried high pressure processing, which was a ton of pressure on plastic bottles to kill bacteria. And so the issue was that they're asking for a low pH, a more acidic food for that, because some of the little guys, like botulism and E. coli and those folks, they don't like the acidic environment. So the FDA required us to have a lower shelf life than we do have to use HTP, and we tried ultraviolet light as well. And ultraviolet light, usually it's for water because water is transparent. But we tried this revolving staircase of milk, kind of in a spiral down beams of ultraviolet light. And I think that would have been very effective. I think it might have been more effective than pasteurization because the pasteurization kills these bacteria and their bodies are decomposing in the milk. Whereas the ultraviolet light actually zaps out their cell walls and just really, really eliminates a lot of the bacteria and microorganisms. But the FDA wouldn't let us do that either, which we learned as we got through the process. And we tried microfiltration. I was in Wisconsin doing experiments where we tried to filter the milk through, different tiny layers. And it filtered a lot of the good stuff out. So we're working with UGA now on pasteurizing at a lower temperature. It's going to need to be refrigerated, and we're we've homogenized the product. So we're working on making it separate less. It separates. It's in a glass. It's really like milk where you get the creaminess at the top of it. You got to shake it up. But people aren't used to that, so people think it spoils. So we're playing with homogenizing right now too.
Yeah, I mean, you are clearly a plant-based milk expert at this point in time with all the buzzwords and everything that you just took us through. Like, it's so intriguing to listen and hear all the different ways that you're accomplishing that processing. And I do think part of the battle is just informing people that, we're going to have to change our mentalities to a degree. You're going to have to shake it up and get it mixed up again. And you're going to have to just embrace that there are those nutrients hiding in it and it has a shorter shelf life. So drink it up quicker and go buy more. It's fresh. That's right. Yeah. This has been so enlightening, Nijil. I really appreciate the time you've committed to hanging out with us and teaching us about the plant-based milk journey. I wish you and the Pecan Milk Cooperative a whole bunch of success in the future. What can the Plant-Based on Fire community do to help? And what are the best ways to get in touch?
Right. So I would say to follow us on our Instagram at Pecan Milk right now. We'll release more updates. I haven't been too active recently because we've been so focused on the science projects that we're doing to get ready with our longer shelf life. But you can find updates there on social media. And folks can get in touch with us by going on our website, pecanmilk.com, and dropping a message or sending an email to hey@, at pecanmilk.com, or can text us at 22929-PECAN. So later
Very cool.
Yeah. So we're going to be active, and we're going to need everyone's hands on deck to make sure that our Pecan Milk Co-op can bring pecan milk to everyone.
I love it. I hope to see it here in the area where I am soon. And thanks again, Nijil. That, everybody, is all the time we have for this episode of Plant-Based on Fire. Again, thank you, Nijil, for joining us and sharing your insights and experiences with the community. I learned a whole bunch. And so until next time, everybody, keep that fire burning, okay?
Take care, y'all.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Plant-Based on Fire. We hope you enjoyed learning about the innovative plant-based businesses we featured today and got inspired to support them on their journey. Remember, plant-based eating isn't just a trend. It's a way of life that benefits your health, the environment, and animals. By choosing plant-based foods, you're making a positive impact on the world and helping to create a better and more compassionate future. If you want to join the Real Men Eat Plants community and get even more resources to help you go and stay plant-based, check out our blog, podcasts, and 30-day challenge at realmeneatplants.com. Thank you for tuning in to Plant Based on Fire, brought to you by Real Men Eat Plants. Head over to Apple Podcast and give us a review and let us know what you think of this episode. Don't forget to tag us at Plant Based on Fire when you share this episode in your preferred social media. Wish to be a guest? We need to know about your plant-based business. Email us at pbof@realmeneatplants.com. We love hearing from our listeners. Thank you to our guests and to you, our listeners, for your support, and see you next time.